Okay, fellow Star Trek nerds, this is cool. I can put all kind of junk on YouTube and little tidbits and stuff about Transformers and factoids, and I even have a computer channel, a separate computer channel, Computer Woes, past, present, and future for random geek stuff that here and there and blah blah blah. But I don't know. Sometimes it can be kind of a waste of time. But it's kind of cool when somebody else shares a memory with you on the vlog. And hey, cool, and blah blah blah. Anyway, this is about Star Trek. Um, in 1993, before some of you were born, I went to a Star Trek convention. It was like in or near New Orleans or something, Louisiana. I was like, what was I? Yeah, 19 at the time, and I saw Marina Sirtis, who plays Counselor Troi. Who the guy I was with, my roommate at the time, his mom had a catering event like right after, so we had to bolt back and leave and that kind of stuff after she spoke in the convention and all the little perks they show with little, demo reels and stuff, Star Trek montages and stuff. Um, it was fun as hell. Um, so she spoke on stage, and oh man, she was a riot. I mean, that woman was. She isn't just beautiful and a talented actress and a nice person. She worked the crowd like she cut up and made jokes and told kind of embarrassing stories about the crew. And y'all don't repeat this, I'll get in trouble. And it was just insane. Um, at one point, she had said something like, "We never see the full product to know what an episode is like until we see the final cut and everything, because different people shoot different parts, and it takes um, weeks to make one episode." Um, and you have to re-edit and impose all the special effects. And she says, in real life, we don't stun people with our phasers. And the whole audience went, "Aww." And then she said, "Okay, okay, but we really do beam men off the bridge." And everybody went, "Yay!" And oh man, she was hysterical. That's a talent when you can work a crowd like that. Everybody was eating out of her hand. But um, I met her in real life, like face to face, and talked with her like, oh boy, I don't know, 2 years ago, which would be about 2020, roughly. And so we're looking at almost, oh boy, that's depressing. The better part of 30 years to finally meet her in person, to talk to her. I told her I'd met her in 93 or saw her in 93 from far away and that kind of stuff. Anyway, I forgot to do his name. I want to say Douglas Murray, but I forget. I still have the promo poster or handbill, or whatever you want to call it, for the event, and I kept it. I might scan it and stick it on the internet or YouTube or whatever, link to it or whatever. But he answered Star Trek fans' Q&A. I know some people are hardcore nerds and all this. This guy did this for a living, much less enthusiast, but he knew everything. I'm talking every nitpicky, super micro question they threw at him, and not only did he answer it, he elaborated on it excessively. I couldn't get over this guy. I know like the writers and the producers and blah 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 that they do this for a living, but he was. I'm talking Marine snipers couldn't touch this guy. He had everything. Um, and for those of you who don't remember this or weren't alive when it happened, they're too young or whatever. They had a 900 number poll you could participate in to say what was your best Star Trek Next Generation episode of all time. So, I guess it's kind of a somewhat sloppy system. Some people might have called for different numbers to vote twice or whatever. But I don't know. I guess it was kind of honor system or whatever. So they tallied it up. They played all five, and then the 2-hour finale of All Good Things, which ended the series of Next Generation. 7 seasons, I think. 5 was Relics because Scotty came back, and everybody loved Scotty. Um, 4 was yesterday's the Inner Light when Picard gets neurally interfaced with that primitive satellite, and he lives the remainder of his adult life into an old man in that Catan, I think it was, whatever, that planet that died 1,000 years ago, whatever. And he had the flute at the end of the episode, which is pretty deep and emotional. And every episode after that, one of my friends told me, in his quarters, you always saw it either on his desk or he was handling it. Like the impact was that intense, 3 was yesterday's Enterprise, it was pretty wicked. Alternate timeline where the Klingons are about to defeat the Federation, and Tasha Yar comes back and she hops on the other thing and blah 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 blah, and they have her daughter come in. And blah, blah. That was interesting. And the last 2 was the best of both worlds, Part 1 and Part 2. And you finally get to see Riker take the captain's chair, which is something kind of nudge, nudge, wink, wink that throughout the series. And Picard being assimilated and in effect turned into a bad guy, which was completely ghoulish. I mean, can you imagine a guy that you love like a brother and your mentor turned evil and you gotta fight him, Almost like Anakin Skywalker going to the dark side, but it wasn't just a spiritual conversion, it was like the cyber implant, which is way, way more techy and just ghoulish. So, they had the infamous episode where they capture Picard, and they have to look at the altered Picard, who's Locutus of Borg. And Riker has to make the split decision to fire on him, knowing he's going to kill Picard and all that, or thinking he would kill Picard, and it just ends the season. And you're like, whoa! You can't wait for this one. And the follow-up, beginning next season, Part 2, got voted the #1 best, awesomest Star Trek Next Generation episode of all time. That's a heck of an honor, whoever wrote that. Anyway, Douglas Murray mentioned that somehow it came up, the Borg or whatever, Star Trek, and he said that the clock was ticking, and they wrote 3 possible scripts for the episode, The Best of Both Worlds Part 2. That was going to be the sequel and the follow-up. What do you do after they assimilated Picard? 3 of them. And he jokingly said, this hardcore, undefeatable enemy, somehow you destroy them by putting them to sleep. And he jokingly said, we're still trying to figure that one out, or how did it make sense, or whatever. And I mean, he might get a few laughs with the audience or something like that. But he said the original, whatever, producer, director, something, that person or team of people, whatever, it was one person, thought that all 3 were just stupid or unsatisfactory, whatever word he used, I forget. So either he or she quit or whatever, that exact, not like left the whole Star Trek franchise, but they just quit for that position, whatever. And we'll transfer you, whatever, or you'll be under the new person or whatever, however it worked out. And they just found somebody else who said they would work with at least one of the scripts, and that's the script they chose. So this was in '93. I'm thinking, the internet has all kind of super micro tidbits, and on eBay people sell like ticket stubs from, a movie that played 30 years ago, and all these little things, It's like, man, tell the Star Trek fans, I want somebody to get their hands on those other 2 scripts, and maybe they can make a cartoon character, animation, something, voice acting, something, and actually do or at least have the script online. And don't just doing the boring read. Do the voice acting, and maybe have some cheesy graphics, somebody can kind of homemade a concoct or whatever. Just splice from the series, and just something like a hodgepodge, messy job, but just have it there so the fans can see what they missed. Like the lost episodes of Twilight Zone a while back on TV, they had the scripts were written, but they were just never filmed and shot before Rod Serling died. So they're pretty much as authentic as any of the real episodes that actually were cut. So, 30, 40 years later, or a million years later, whatever it was, I think it was Twilight Zones in the 50s, they actually got, current actors at the time, like, 10, 20 years ago, and they did it. They did the episodes. So it's like, ooh, cool, But I wanted the internet community to know about the, whatever you want to call them, the lost scripts or whatever, and maybe the Star Trek fan base can kind of start doing some digging. And those scripts when I got thrown away a million years ago, who knows? But it would just be cool if the internet community kind of started, pushing somebody and say, can you dig up those scripts and we can do kind of like a little voice acting thing? And it would be too crazy if we actually got the original cast to actually sit down in the studios and do the voice. Oh man, that would be insane. maybe it's too much to orchestrate, but it ain't like there's a billion starving actors that would love to do it in their place, so. But anyway, I want the internet community to know about that little super micro tiny factoid. I haven't Googled it. Maybe the story is out on the internet somewhere and in some kind of article or whatever, or a fan's blog or whatever, but I don't know. I thought I'd go through the trouble. It's 11:35 p.m. Monday night, March 28th, 2022, and I should be in bed right now. I gotta make it to the 9 o'clock appointment tomorrow. But, of course, with my warped logic, instead of going to bed like I should be doing, I got the wild hair to post this story online. Oh well. Alright. I don't know. Post any comments or questions or blah 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 if you have any questions or whatever. Okay, cool. Bye.